Hello. What are we going to work on today? I'm Julie Torrens, and I've been working on ephemera and making my own ephemera. Now, we have had other videos where we've worked on ephemera and worked on these flowers, but I just wanted to visit it again because it's what I'm working on. But I've also had some comments and some concerns about still making your own and where do we go from here type of thing. So what I thought I would do is, we've already done these on other videos, but I thought I would just give us a little refresher. But it seems like the real sticking point, the hard part for folks, is more in the doodling part. This part, that seems to be where people are having a harder time. So I thought, okay, well, we're going to do some doodling. That's what we're going to focus on more. And also using other things. So I've got two sets of watercolors. This is my metallics. They don't make this anymore. It was Paper Fashions. It's a product from American Crafts, but any metallic paints, or these are kind of iridescent colors here. These are the metallics. Anything like this that you have, and if you don't have them, don't worry about it. It's just for fun. And I'm going to take my water bottle and just give them a spray. I don't care whose metallic paints or shimmery paints you're using. They all seem to need to have that activation going on. And as I've said before, I've never activated paints and wish I didn't. Some need it more than others. The second paints I have, these are my Jane Davenport's, and it's the bright set. Now these you can still get. You can get them on her site. And then there are some places here in the US that carry it. Just, look online, but it's the Jane Davenport's, and the name of the set is the Brights. So those are the ones we're going to be using. These are student grade paints. These are not children's paints, not like, Crayola and Crazy Art and those kinds of things. If that's what you have, use it. It's fine. But what I'm using is student grade. I've got my dual water bucket that I use for watercolor. I've got some paper towels, and I've got my watercolor brushes. And I'm going to just start out with this big old brush. This is a Master's Touch, and it's a number 16 round. And I like this brush. I'm just wetting it. And we'll start out with the rose. That seems to be one of the favorites. And if any of them are giving people a problem, that's one of them. So the way I make a rose, and this is the simplest rose I know how to make. I'm just going into the pink, and I start out by making a couple of C shapes, or sort of a yin and yang. So I just bring it like that way and then this way. Just two sort of knitted together C shapes to start out. And then with the round brush, I just go, see where there's that divide. So I'm going to start with a little pressure, give it more pressure, and then a little pressure. And then over here is where there's the joint. So little pressure, a lot of pressure, a little pressure. And I just work my way around the flower that way. So here's where these two, so I'm going to do a little pressure, a lot of pressure, a little pressure, a little pressure, a lot of pressure, a little pressure. And then I just can fill in some of these other spaces, and then maybe put one here and put one here. Maybe bring this one out a little bit. And then that's pretty much it. There you go. And then I take a color that's a little bit darker than what I've got. So I'm just going into a sort of a darker pink, and I'm just going to put some of this in. And if it mixes up with the other, it's okay. It is wet. And I just fill in not all the white spaces, but some of them. And I'm just putting in some of this color. And I'm going to call that done. This needs to just rest. So there's a rose. And then I'll show you the next step after it dries a little bit. Could anything be simpler than this? And I'll show you how I made that. Yellow center. And then I am rinsing my brush. And now I'm going to pick another color. It doesn't matter what color. I'll go with purple this time. I'm not touching if I can avoid it. If I do, it's no big deal. But I'm just putting a circle around it. And I'm just making the circle a little bit bigger. It's not a perfect circle, but when have flowers ever been perfect? And these are just fantasy flowers. These are not photorealistic. And now I'm going to let that one rest. Leaves. Grabbing a green here. And I'm going to grab, I'm just going to shut that up for a minute. I'm going to grab another green over here, a little darker. So this first one, it's just an upside down heart. And maybe that's too light to see. There we go. Upside down heart. And you can always just turn your paper around and make it a right side up heart. And then a stem. And because I'm cutting these out, I make the stems usually a little more generous. And I'm just going to create a little more of a point at the top. This is just kind of just an oblong. Like that. Fill it in. And then again a stem. And then this is about as oblong as you can get. And I just picked up another green. And again, think about, you're going to want to be able to cut these out. And there's a stem for him. And then this guy, that little explosion of fun. Start out with a light blue or whatever light color that you want. And I'm just making X's on top of X's on top of X's. They may not even be perfect. It doesn't matter. Then I'm going to pick up kind of a medium blue. And again, I'm just making X's all through it. And then I'm going to pick up a darker blue. And if you don't have 3 shades of blue, you can just, maybe pick a darker purple. I can do that. I'll just pick a darker purple instead of a blue. Maybe you only have 2 blues. Maybe you only have 1 blue. Just use what you have and pick a dark color, a medium color, and a light color. And now I'm just going to go through this one and make lots of X's. And that's it. Now we've got all these extra little flowers. But they're going to need to dry. Now my rose, which is here, it's a little bit more dry. I'm going to just completely clean my brush. I'm going to blot it off so that it's damp but not puddly. And now I'm just going to go with my wet brush and just go over pretty much the whole thing. Sticking with the circular motion, but that's going to give a whole nother range of color. And that's it. That's how I make a rose. Okay, this one, I probably would have let this dry just a little bit more, but I'm just going to pick another color. I've got yellow and purple. I'm going to just pick maybe pink, because pink will be okay with both of those colors. And now I'm just filling in the circle, that white space. But I'm going on top of the center color, and I'm going on top of the purple. And there. So, easy, right? Oh, we didn't do this one. For this one, I used a square brush. So let me grab a square brush. Here, this is a square brush. Grab a color. And all I did for this one was similar to this, but I just did it with a square brush. And there's once around, a little more water. Maybe the same color, maybe not. I don't really quite remember which color I grabbed to begin with. It's a different color, but that's okay. Now this one's smaller than this one, so I can't fit quite as much in it. But that's it. That's it. Now, what I did in some of the ones that I showed you at the beginning was I took some of the shimmer colors, and like I have here, I have a shimmer green. And so I'm just going to grab up some of that shimmer green. Now you have to really work these paints to get it on your brush. It's not a typical watercolor. But then I'm just putting it right on top, and it's just going to give it some shimmer and shine. Now I don't know if you can see it, but I'm going to just kind of tilt it to see if you can catch the shimmer compared to the other two. And let's try to add some to this one. I'm gonna load it up. I'm just filling it in with some shimmer. And there. So now can you see the shimmer? Or maybe it just looks like wet, but that's what I was doing with the shimmers. And then on a flower like this, I may go into the gold. And these are not as transparent as the metallics are not as transparent as your regular watercolors. But just go ahead and put a gold middle in here. Put a gold middle in here. And there. I could even put a gold, maybe just put gold dots in this one. See? So I think you can kind of get the idea of what I've done as far as the watercolor part of this. So let's get on to the doodling. And again, there are other videos on my channel, Beginner Watercolor, where we talk about making these roses and these other little shapes. So, you know, take a look at that. Other ones with watercolor ephemera. But I want to talk about the doodling. So, and by the way, I'm just using, this is the Amazon watercolor paper. That's their own brand. And it was 14 by 11, and I just cut it in half so that they're 7 by 11. Just to make it more manageable while I'm here with you. Okay, so we've got these, and it's the doodling. That's what we need. Now here I've got the shimmer on the, like in here, these leaves. Again, I don't know if you can see the shimmer, but it's there. And I put some gold centers on these. So these are just, again, look at all those roses, just like we made. But let's talk about the doodling. So I'm going to just turn this over because it'll be fine. I do doodling mostly with my Sharpie markers, but you can also use other things. And I did bring my Posca, my acrylic markers, and I thought maybe we'll do some doodling with that. So one of the main things, and I'll start with the big marker. One of the main things with doodling, and let's move these out of the way, is dots. Now, you're saying, well, you know, who can't make a dot? I would think everyone could make a dot. So you can do all kinds of things with dots. You can make them bigger, you can make them smaller. You can make dots like this. But what I'm doing is practicing right now. And that's what you're going to need to do, is just some practicing. But let's say you have a flower. Well, you can put these dots all around the flower center, like that. Or you can make your dots, let's say you have a vine, and then at the end of the vine, just give it a few dots. Maybe you have a whole lot of other kinds of flowers. Well, you can just make a dotty flower like these. And I'm just doing it with dots. See? I can make bigger dots and I can give this another kind of a flower like that. So all kinds of ways that you can use dots. You just have to do it. And then maybe there's just kind of a little bit of extra dots for extra interest. Isn't that fun? And it's not hard. So what's another thing that I use in doodling? Lines. Lines. And well, anyone can draw a line. Well, people say they can't. Anyone can draw a line. Are they perfectly straight? No. So what are lines good for? Lines are great for texture. So you can take these lines and you can do what's called cross-hatching. So you can do lines like this and add texture. You can add more texture and more texture. And you can even go over them an extra time to make it even more dense. But you can cross-hatch. You can use this for shading. You can use that, and again, in a flower center. But lines can do all kinds of things. What about wavy lines? And you can create texture like wood grain or whatever you want. Now you can take your dots and add them to lines like this. And your dots can have openings in the top and you can use those. Well, how am I going to use those? Well, if you've got a flower, and then you can just like that. Then you can add more lines like this, like a V shape. And you can add more lines like this. And you just keep building and building as you're doodling away. Okay, what else about lines? Well, you can do lines, but not have them cross-hatch. And it makes a whole different kind of a texture. Kind of a basket weave. That's another way you can use lines. And that can be the center of a flower, or it can be a piece of fabric, or it can be a basket that holds your flowers. All kinds of different ways to use this type of a pattern. You can also just make a line and don't let it cross itself. So here's what I mean. So I want you to be able to see. So I'm just making a wiggly line, and I'm going to go this way. I'm not lifting my pen, but I'm just filling in the whole space, and it kind of gives you, I don't know, like a lacy look. But they're not crossing each other. Do you see what I mean? There's another way of doodling. All these are just different doodles. And, there's hearts, there's stars without lines in the middle. They're just 5 points. You can make other marks and other doodles like this. How about, the letter M? We'll just keep going. And then you can add your lines like that. And then you can add your dots like this. And that's all with the letter M. Isn't that pretty? It could be a fence. It could be any number of things. You can also just keep making the letter M and then go between. And now you've got something that kind of looks like shingles. not like the disease, but like on the top of a house, like a shingle shake house, or petals on a flower. What do I mean by that? Well, start with your dot, make your M's, and then just keep going around. And I'm not paying attention whether it's going between or not, and I'm just going around and around and around and around until it's the size that I want. And then I just end it like that. So these are just some. I mean, there are so many more. What about rickrack? Add your dots. Add your lines. Add some more dots. Looks like people all holding hands. And there. And it's just repeat, repeat, repeat. But there's just so many ways you can do doodles. So, any other ways? Well, you can just work with shapes. Make triangles. Add your dots. Add some lines. What about that? Add some dots. And you just keep building and building and building. How about a spiral? Very easy. Just takes practice. Here's another spiral. You can also do a spiral that's kind of like a Greek key, where it's more like a square shape. And you can just keep making them. Like that. They're not perfect. Add your dots. Add your triangles. Add another dot. And just keep going. Add your M's. Like that. And keep going and keep going. So you can see, I mean, there's just a plethora of ideas. Oh, well, I set this in some water. We're not going to worry about it. So how about doodling on what we have here? Should we give it a try? Sure. Now I've got two sizes of Sharpies here. I'll go ahead and start with the larger Sharpie. I think it's a little bit easier to see. On something like this, I'll probably make a circle and I'll just add some lines. Make a circle, add some lines. Keep it simple. Like that. And then maybe some dots on each of these. And then maybe some dots, just kind of freckle little dots in there. And I'm going to cut these out and I'm going to use them. I sure am. There. Now, how about their little friends here? Well, I'm just not going to go quite so big. and there. And maybe instead of putting those dots at the thing, like I did, I'm just going to put dots random all the way around. Like that. And there. Okay. How about these? How about these flowers? Well, let's see. I'm going to start with a small Sharpie. Give it a little center. Make some M's. Make another row of M's, a little bigger. Put some lines. Join the lines. Put a V shape. And then maybe some dots inside each of the V's. And there. What about that? I can have the same flower shape to begin with, and I can just go ahead and make some of these swirls like this. Like that. And then maybe I'll just put some lines radiating out like that. And then what? Let's see. How about an X? And then maybe fill in this part with a little teardrop shape. Think about what you're doing here. Like that. Just keep working it and working it and working it. Now these little guys, I would probably just do something like petal shapes. Like that. All of these are different ways that you can fill these in. Now, you know, I'm looking at these and I'm seeing that I want more. So using my smaller pen, I'm just adding 3 lines between each of these. Only 1 there, maybe 2 there. And I just stop when I feel like it looks good. And if I don't like it, I keep going. What have I got to lose? But I like these better already. Maybe I'll put some in this. Like that. I like it. I really do. I think these are fine. All right, so let's just say, Julie, I am not a doodler. What else can I do? All right, well, I've got some of these. Do you have some stencils? And I just grabbed some stencils that have smaller patterns. Like, look at that. Very small. This is a heart shape of hearts, but I don't have to do the whole heart shape. I can just pick out some hearts to put Here's star shapes. And you can just put star shapes. Here are some more like a border. But, you know, you could work this out to be a stem. You could use this, and then you could just put some dots around it. So let's see what we can do with some of these stencils. All right, I'll grab the heart one. And these pink ones, I've got some archival, acid-free, permanent, waterproof aquamarine ink. And I'm just going to grab, I have the cosmetic sponge. And let's see about putting some hearts in this flower. And I'm going to, you know, work to not get it outside the pink. But if I do, it's not a tragedy. And yeah, I'm being a little bit careful. And let's just see what we get with that. Well, that's sweet. I think that's great. Okay, now maybe I want to add a few more. And I can just kind of pick out some spaces that I think could use a little more. Maybe add one here. I'm just trying not to smear it. Those are sweet. Really sweet. Okay, let's grab a different one. And I'm going to stick with the I'm going to stick with the same color here. And let's get some stars on this pink one. And I'm going like from left to right, from up to down, just so that I can work the ink in all the different directions of the star. And some of them are just going to look like dots, and that's okay. There. Now, I'm just going to move it and add a few more. And there. So you can see I'm not using doodling skills. I'm just using a stencil. Good. Another one here. Do I like one better than the other? Not really. I like them both. Good. See, you can do all kinds of things. I'm going to add another one right here. I think that looks sweet. Now, I can take this and shut the ink for a second here. I'm going to take my thin Sharpie. I'm going to go around. And I'm just outlining. It's not perfect. Doesn't need to be perfect. I'm going to add, I'm just doing wiggle, 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 and a stem. How about that? Now maybe I'll just add some little dots around it. Now I probably wouldn't add these dots until after I already mounted this on something, because I would be cutting it out and then adding the dots once I put it on whatever it was I wanted to put it on. And I'm just going to add some of these dots right inside. All the way around the edge. And dots. I'm not going on top of the stars. I'm going around them. There. That's sweet, isn't it? How about this one? I am going to, well, first I'm going to outline it. But I'm going to outline these hearts. I'm going to do the same thing I'm doing to the left, wiggle, wiggle, to the right, wiggle, wiggle. There. Now, once this was placed on something, then you could just do, again, something all around the edge. Like, how about this? L-O-V-E star. L-O-V-E star. L-O-V-E star. L-O-V-E star. L-O-V-E bigger star. L-O-V-E star. L-O-V-E star. And see, the letters are becoming the doodle. I'm working in such a small space. L-O-V-E star. L-O-V-E star. There. Now look at that. Isn't that cute? You cannot buy ephemera this cute. You probably can. I'm just tooting my own horn. But sincerely, I like this. I'm not just saying it because I'm making it. These are things I would definitely cut out and use. I think this one needs a little more work. I think this one needs some more work. I think this is gorgeous. I think this is gorgeous. I love these. Love them. Love those two little guys. These need more work. So, if I don't have stencils, what would I do with these? Okay? Well, I still think I would outline it. And then maybe I would fill it in, starting with some bigger swirlies at the bottom. And then as I got closer to the top, making them just a little bit smaller. And I'm going to make up for the ones that you can't see all the way. Now, I've been going purposely slow so that you can see, but now I'm going to just speed it up so that you can see how I would literally do this. And I'm just going around and around, over and over. But this is what's going to make it so darn cute. And then maybe there's just going to be a bigger one right there. Why not? Up to the top I go. And there. Wiggle, wiggle to the left. Wiggle, wiggle to the right. And there. Isn't that cute? I like it. I like it just fine. I think it looks like some kind of a pod thing. All right, let's move up. How about doodling on these? All right. I'm going to start with M's on this one. M, 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 M. I'm going to do another row of M's. And now I'm going to do bigger petals. And now petals in between the petals. There. Looking good. Now, remember I told you I have the Poscas? This flower is looking awfully dark to me. So I am just going to give it some white dots. And I like what that did to it. Just dots. Yep. I think these guys could use some white dots. And maybe you just have a white gel pen that you could put some dots in white to work with your black. I think these red ones, the one I'm working on now, with everything I've added, I like it better and better and better. And I didn't not like it to begin with. And put a little white there, put a little white here, and put a little white there. They're easy. They're fun. Okay, ovals. So those are the flowers that are not looking straight at us. So finish the oval, and then I'm just going to make petals going all the way around. This one closer to me, a little wider. And there's my little flat flower. Here's another one. And there. And then this would be, I don't know if any of this is wet. I don't think so. Now, some of these you're going to like better than others. Some of these I'm going to like better than others. If you don't like it when you're done, don't cut it out. You're practicing. It's fine. And I'm going right to the edge. Now, can you see here where I made a little double line? I'm just going to fill it in. There. What do you think? Pretty good, huh? Can't go wrong. I suppose you could, but I don't know how. All right. How about this one? We could go again with just lines. Like that. Maybe I could turn every other one into a petal. Now I've got a strange one out here, so I'm just going to do like that. I got a strange one out here. Just do like that. Yep. It's fine. Few black dots, and there we have it. How about that? A few black dots. Beautiful. Okay, what about these dark ones? Well, I'm going to go ahead again. I think this white one, that one is getting awfully empty. I'm just going to put white dots in the middle. How about that? Good. I'm happy with these. And I'm going to cut them out, and they're going to turn into some flowers. And I'll finish doodling. Now, what other doodling can we do? Hang on. What about this? These are quite a bit darker, and I'm going to start right off the bat with white. And again, if you have a white gel pen, most people do. And I'm just going to go right around this with my white. But I'm going inside the red just a little bit. And this is a bud. And this one's kind of coming at us. Like that. Now, the white is turning pink because I'm activating the watercolor underneath. So it is going to pick up the red and it'll be pink. That's all right. If you're worried about your pen, all you have to do is just wipe it off and it'll be fine. Good. Do one more. There. Pretty. I like it. Now these are buds. I'm just going to take the green and I'm going to make a leaf this way and a leaf this way and a stem. And a leaf this way and a leaf this way and a stem. There. Easy. Should we do a couple more? Sure. These are dark. So I'm going back with the white. It doesn't really want to peg. I'm going to go here. And now it's showing up with a little bit of that pink. I don't care. And now I can take a lighter blue and go around these. And there. And maybe I'll take this blue and just give it a few lines, kind of like little folds towards the middle of the flower. Like that. One more? Sure. And there. Looking good to me. I hope it looks good to you. Okay. So are you getting kind of the idea of how I fill these different flowers in? Now these I filled in with white, but here is some more. Okay, what if I don't have white? What if I only have the black? Okay, I'm going to use my big black Sharpie marker. I'm just doodling on top. Is it perfect? No. Is it fine? Absolutely. I think it's pretty. Little lines. And this is just with a big old household Sharpie, the same one that you use to make garage sale signs. Just grab it and go. Why not? Same Sharpie. What about this one? M's. M, 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 M. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. I'm serious. I really like it. Okay, how about the leaves? Remember I had a sheet of all leaves? How about these? Well, I'm going to start out with now these leaves. I'm going to start out with my small Sharpie. Finish the sentence. These are the shadow leaves. These are the leaves that are tucked behind. And then these are the other leaves. But I made some shadow in all the shapes. So I'm going to definitely, if I'm going to do anything to the shadow leaves, it's going to be minimal, and I'm going to use the black. So I'm just going to put a vein, because these are supposed to be in the shadows. And couple veins. When you're making leaf veins, they need to be hooked to something. You don't just have them stray. They've got to be hooked to something. But I'm not using white. I'm not putting an outline. I am just going very minimal, because those are the shadow leaves. They're in the shadows. There. Looks good to me. Okay, how about some of these other leaves? Well, there's a lot of ways to go with this. So I'm going to start keeping with this marker, and I'm just going to outline. And then I'm going to do more of a deliberate, like that. Now, where these join, I can fill it in a little bit more. And just changing the weight of the lines can make a nice difference. See? You know, this compared to that. One more. And just make the lines a little heavier where they join. And there. Those are pretty leaves, aren't they? How about these little guys? Just give them an outline. And you don't have to do anything with leaves. You can just leave them, and they're fine. You can just cut them out and put them in. I've done that. I think it can look very pretty. It depends on what you're putting it with, but make a variety. I'm not going to doodle all of these. I'm going to doodle some, and I'm going to doodle some in different ways. Now, I've got another green here. So this is a darker green. And I could just take this, and again, you might have a gel pen. These are acrylic markers. And I could just outline this. like that. See? A whole different look. But this is the doodling part that it just seems like some of you are having a little bit of trouble, at least based on the correspondences that I've had. Now I'm going to use the lighter green, and I'm going to work on like this one. You don't see a whole lot, but it's there. It's definitely there. I can use it on here. Like that. It gives you that nice smooth edge, which can be pretty. Again, it's just going to depend on what's the application, what are you doing, where are you going with it, and is it going to be foreground, is it going to be background? That's all going to change how you want to deal with it. Let's see about this. Oh, I got real carried away there. It's all right. Just look like shading. Nice, huh? So see, leaves are not hard. Make some shadow leaves that you can tuck in behind and then layer your true green ones in front. And you'd be surprised how your eye doesn't read brown leaves, green leaves. It reads leaves in the shadows, leaves on the outside. And I've made them brown, I've made them gray, just a lot of different colors that you can use to keep it going. Okay, what about this dark pen on the light leaves? That's a whole different look. Isn't that different and pretty? Okay. All right. Last one. To the roses. Now, the roses, I do not normally use the heavy black Sharpie. I will usually use my thin Sharpie, and I'm very careful, and I don't do them all, but I do look at what, first of all, which ones got awfully blurry. Like this one to me got awfully blurry. So I'm just going to go ahead, and this one's not writing. So let's pull another one. That's why I always have more than one. There we go. So I'm just repeating those shapes that I had done before. And I just kind of add, and I don't outline them all, but I just add some. And again, when you don't have them all filled in, your eye will automatically fill it in for you. And with something like this, right now, all you're going to see is the blurriness and the lines that you just made. Walk away. And when you come back, you'll like it better. I promise. It's just the way it goes. Now, these buds, all right, I'll start with my black marker, and I'm going to outline my bud, and it's got a little purple there, so I've got it there. Let's do them all here. Did I just make 2? Guess so. All right, I'll do this one. And I'll do a red one. And I'm just kind of following the way the watercolor ended up laying. And then take my green and I'm going to make a, like that. I don't know how to describe that. Line to the left, line in the middle, line down, line in the left, make a stem. Maybe this one only has 2. Maybe this one has one that's up over the bud. Maybe this one does too. Yeah, see? And then some of them, I'm just gonna do like that, and I'm not gonna add the black. There. And you can also add these things once you have it down on whatever it is you're putting them on. So you can always add them. But that's pretty much what I do, especially if a rose got awfully blurry. Do we have another one that we can color in? Well, we can add drawing to any of them. I like the idea of the yellow because I think you can see the lines the best. I'll go with this one. Now, I don't remember if this is the dead one or the working one, but we'll find out in a moment. Yeah, had a 50-50 chance. Let's throw that one away. And here we go. Yep. And again, I'm just following the lines that the watercolor already is giving me. And I'm not filling really any of them in all the way. I'm just kind of picking them out. There. I wouldn't do much more than that. This one looks like it's just kind of flying out in the air. There. That's it. So, the roses, though, cut them out and then place them down and see what you think. All of these things are going to need to be fussy cutted, and that's okay. Do you see this rose? This rose looks to me like you would still see it's kind of to me like a kind of an open bud. There. All right. Well, I don't generally sign my ephemera, but I hope that you found this helpful. I hope that you found it educational. Let me know in the comments what you think, and let me know if you're going to start making some of your own ephemera. Please consider hitting the like. It helps me so much. Subscribe. I need subscribers desperately. And if you enjoy my content, why not subscribe? I'll see you all in the next video. Bye now.